I like his appearance. This might sound stupid, but
With hair?
No, he looks like he could kill you with his bare hands. Like, do you know, he looks aggressive. Like he looks like.
If you're watching this, Christoph, do apologise for that statement. It looks like he could kill you.
No, in a good,
How can he look like good in a kill way?
In a footballing terms, what I mean by that is he's the kind of player who you love to have on your side, but the opposition hate him.
So before we get into the main content, just a very quick point of clarification. In a previous video, we mentioned that the Rangers pre-season friendly kicked off at 7:45. Thankfully, somebody in social media made us aware that it is actually a 7:30 kickoff. So if you are going to go to the Rangers game, it's 7:30. So welcome back to Small Earth Alliance FC. And once again, Birmingham City have signed a new player. They seem to be arriving by the busload at the moment. And just off the back of the previous video we did on the arrival of Willumsson, the following morning, Birmingham City announced the arrival of Christophe Klarer. Now, Matt, you saw that announcement of Christophe Klarer. So what do you think about him as a player and what do you think he'll do for Birmingham City?
Yeah, so this seems like another coup. He played over 30 games last year in the Bundesliga, the equivalent of the German Premier League. I even saw a photo on social media of him challenging for a header with Harry Kane. So, he's played at the top level in Germany. And people on social media are saying he's maybe a relegation battling Premier League player or a promotion chasing Championship player, and we've managed to get him again in League One, which is absolutely incredible. We spoke about height, we spoke about physicality. It seems like the club are now not getting the message. That sounds arrogant, like they're listening to the podcast, but I think
they are.
I think the fans have been crying out for that physicality, that height, especially in the centre half and the defensive side of the game. It looks like we're getting that now. I mean, Willumsson's 6'3", and he's the attacking mid, so it looks like we've gone from sort of a team of toddlers to suddenly recruiting 6 foot plus players, which is great to see. I love that. This guy looks aggressive. He looks physical. And as I say, I think we've got another coup in our hands here.
Yeah, you're right. And it's great because it is plugging those gaps that we know that we've got. Everybody knows, Birmingham City supporters who watch this podcast and anybody who knows anything about our club know that we lacked height. And the centre-back position, you've got to have height because we are going to get a lot of balls pinged into our box from all opposition. Yeah. So you need that physical height. This guy has played in the German Bundesliga. That's where we got him from. We got him from Darmstadt. They got relegated from the Bundesliga. And I was smiling because that game you mentioned about where he was up against Harry Kane, they lost that game 8-0.
That is completely fair enough. I take that. But for a centre-half at 24 years of age to be up against Harry Kane, that is...
I think it was 8-0. The reason I remember, and that sticks out in my mind, because I remember seeing a video on one of the social media channels where at the end of that game, one of the Darmstadt fans was actually giving a lecture to the actual team on the pitch after the game.
I remember seeing that clip. Yeah. I've not connected those dots yet. I've seen that.
That's why that sticks out. I think it was 8-0, but I know it was a very, very high score. That doesn't make him a bad player because Bayern Munich are a good team anyway, and obviously they were a struggling team anyway.
But the point stands, it's a high standard. Harry Kane's a world-class player, and he's still got that in the can now that no one can take away from him, that he's played against those kind of players. Because the Bundesliga is the equivalent of the Premier League in Germany.
Exactly. So he has played at that level, which is really, really good. He's 24 as well, so that's a real good age. What I like about the recruitment that we've done so far, and I do think that we do need a little bit more experience in certain areas, but we are not buying players that are coming towards the end of their careers, which is, I think, where we've fallen foul before in the past, isn't it? Another really good young player that's really going to boost our defence, I think.
And also as well, of course, down the official channels of the clubs, they've said an undisclosed fee, but actually it looks like we've just smashed the League One record with, I think it was 4.1 million euros.
We smashed it the day earlier because Willumsson was smashed it then.
So we've gone from Willumsson and Klarer, 2 signings in 24 hours in the top 2 part of the League One transfer record. So that is pretty impressive business in and of itself, isn't it? And we're not messing around, and these signings are proving that. And I tried to do a little bit of research on him because, again, I'm not going to lie, Blues fans, me and Dad don't know the ins and outs of every player in the world. We have to do our due diligence and research ourselves in order to give you the most up-to-date information. And I did see a report on social media. It was from I think a lot of fans might have seen this and read this, but I will recite the conclusive 2 sentences, which just gives a really good overview of the style of his game. And it is on X. If you go to a thread, the information is there. But I just want to read this out. The back end of his report from a scout a couple of years ago. I think this might have been around his Southampton days. He says, strong defender, tall frame who's capable to dominate aerial battles, a strong reader of the game, impressive leadership skills for his age, which can be developed further, solid technically and tactically, but being coached in a more fitting formation will only benefit him and his potential even further. Areas for improvement are speed and agility. But of course, every player, even the world-class players, have parts of their game they need to improve on. But that is impressive. For a centre-half, that's exactly what you want to hear.
You do find that with centre-halves, that often, if they're big, tall centre-halves, one of the things that they generally, and this isn't a blanket statement for everybody, but it's generally pace that they lack. But then, okay, that's fine that they lack pace, but their job is going to be aerial, it's going to be physical. So it's only when you come across them teams where they've got that player that has a burst of pace, but hopefully we won't put our centre-halves in that position, make them vulnerable to that. But it says because I read that as well, it said he could improve on his pace, but it didn't say he lacked pace.
No, it didn't.
So,
exactly.
So I think that maybe that's just an area where
I think his biggest attribute from what I've been reading, kind of like a Kevin Long situation, he will dominate in aerial battles.
Which is what we needed.
He's very aggressive. He's very strong. He will dominate in the air. And when you look at our team last season, Dave, do you remember when we got a corner, we conceded a corner, we were like, oh my word, they're going to score here because we've got no height. At least when you think
and
now,
free kicks.
when you think Willumsson, when you think Bielek, now when you think Klarer, at least we've got some height in the team that we know we're not so vulnerable defensively. And actually, it improves our chances of scoring set pieces in the attacking side of the game as well. So I think this is an all-round positive signing. And again, just want to bring you back to a couple of comments made from fans of the club who have been watching Klarer. And they say some of his best attributes, again, centre-half, short passing, strength, aggression, jumping, awareness, and strong at standing tackles. Yeah. Again, everything you want to hear from a centre-half. And the fact he's cost that money, he's come from the Bundesliga, he's 24. This is a signing we should not be making at the League One level.
No.
And I just can't believe where we've gone in this transfer market. We've gone from panic, rather am I signing this, to suddenly quality over quantity, and it looks like we're filling in those gaps. And I'm really encouraged now to see height, see physicality, and everything we seem to be picking up on every week seems to be a player coming in those positions or those attributes that we're talking about. So for me, I think this is a brilliant signing.
I'm greedy. I want more height as well because I still think we need more. Yeah. You know, obviously we've got Willumsson now, and obviously now we've got Klarer. I think we need another couple of players of that height as well. And that, and we could talk about different areas, but maybe that's for another podcast. But I
think just to capitalise on that statement, Doug, I think our centre mids need to be tall and physical as well.
Again, I agree. I also think as well that gives us this height at the back as well. I think maybe we still need a left-sided centre back as well.
Definitely, because I think when you have a left-footed centre half, it just balances the back line a little bit more. And apparently he will play on the left side of the defence, but he is a a right-footed player, and I like a left-footed centre half in the left side of the centre back position.
And he has got plenty of experience. Let me just tell you some of his stats that I always sort of explore. Most of his games actually before he was at Darmstadt, he was at Fortuna Düsseldorf. I think it might have been Bundesliga 2 actually, in Germany. 80 games he played for them. I mean, he's a central defender, so I always talk about goals and assists. But actually, that's not the most important thing. You like them to chip in, but actually, it's more about clean sheets. I haven't got that data, but Fortuna Düsseldorf, he played 80 games. So, and they're a decent, championship level, lower to mid Premier League type of style of team. Fortuna Düsseldorf, 80 games, 5 goals and 2 assists. Darmstadt, 31 games, 2 goals, 2 assists. He did play. He has played in Britain before. He's played, but not in the
Southampton.
But they were the under-21s and the under-18s. Played a lot of games for them. 41 games for the under-18s, 35 games for the under-23s. And there's also a club, SKN St. Polten, which is because obviously he's Austrian.
Yeah.
So I'm not too sure. Maybe you can correct me on this, Blues fans. I'm not too sure if Polten's a German team or an Austrian team. But anyway, it was one of his early teams. He played 14 games for them. So he comes with experience.
At 24 as well.
24, and I think that's good. He's got the height, and clearly you mentioned the attributes about physicality. You do need that in that area as well.
Yeah.
To me, this is another absolute cracking signing.
And I like his appearance. It might sound stupid, but
his hair.
No, he looks like he could kill you with his bare hands. He looks aggressive. Like he looks like.
If you're watching this, Christoph, do apologise for that statement. He looks like he could kill you.
No.
He actually looked like good in a kill way.
In a footballing terms, what I mean by that is he's the kind of player who you love to have on your side, but the opposition hate him because he's going to be doing some stuff. He's going to be putting in the niggles, putting in the challenges. He just looks aggressive, and I like those kind of players. I don't think we're going to get any messing from him. And I'm really happy with this sign. I think it's a cracking coup, and I can't wait to see what he's got. Quick question for you, Dad, before we finish. What message do you think this sends to Dejan Sanderson and the other defenders in the team?
Yeah, that is a good question, because I think it's not just about whether it sends a message to them. I think this is the culture that they're trying to create around the club now, that they want to have competition in all positions. I think it's brilliant. I think it's absolutely fabulous that no player in that first team is safe.
Definitely.
Because they're going to have to say, well, I've got to be on my game. I've got to be at it all the time. Otherwise, I'm going to lose my place. So I wouldn't really sort of just focus on Dejan Sanderson. It could be any player in the team now will know that. And we have got some gaps, by the way, still to fill. But a lot of these positions we're getting filled now. We've got decent players, or two decent players in virtually all the positions so far. So by the time the transfer window closes, I think we're going to have really, really good competition. We do need that because we're going to get injuries, we're going to get suspensions. So there's going to be times of the season where we're going to need backup anyway. So Dejan Sanderson will know that. To be honest with you, what I've seen in pre-season, Dejan Sanderson, I've been pretty impressed with, really.
Been all right, hasn't he? Yeah.
So, and he did say, after the end of last season, that he really wants to put the work in. I think he's shown that in pre-season so far. But yeah, I don't think there's a problem that any player will look over their shoulder and see that there's players waiting to come in. Because if I was a footballer, I would want that. I'd want to be the very best I can, and knowing that if I have a bad game or I go on a bad run, I'm going to lose my place.
Yeah, absolutely. It stops complacency. Sorry, and we saw this last season. There wasn't enough squad depth to cause competition in certain areas of our squad. We lack squad depth massively, and we have done for several years now. So this encourages the players to push for their best. It allows now a higher standard in the training field for them to keep pushing each other.
Yeah.
It allows for rotation. We've got a long season ahead, cup games, in the league, all these various competitions. And you said the biggest thing for me, I'm just going to circle back to it, is complacency. It makes the players focused, and it's going to make them push and drive their game. Hopefully, in theory, higher.
Well, let's be honest. It's a long season, lots of competitions, and we're gonna get players that are going to go out of form. We are going to get those dreaded injuries, and we're going to get those suspensions, and and that's where we failed last season. We were looking at who comes in now when it's certain parts of the season. That happens to a lot of teams, to be honest, and that's what a successful team will do. They have strength in depth. I think this is one signing that helps that strength in depth. I don't think it's just Sanderson. I think Bielek as well as a centre back will need to do actually, and I think we'll get another one as well. I think we'll have another centre back in the team. So I think it's absolutely brilliant, and paying £4 million for a centre back in League One is ridiculous.
It's insane, isn't it?
It is absolutely crazy.
I mean, 8.5 million spread over 24 hours for a League One team. We've spent 13 million euros, 11 million quid so far this summer. It's absolutely bonkers, isn't it?
But the thing is, it isn't just spending the money. They do look like decent players. I was talking to two guys actually. I was on a walk, me and my wife, earlier today, and bumped into a guy called Terry. And his grandson, I think, it was Jack, was with him, and we had a little chat about the Blues. He recognised me from the podcast, and we had a quick chat. And they were talking about the squad and the signings, and really, I think, sort of generated the general mood. They're really chuffed with what's happening at the Blues at the moment.
Yeah.
And they were talking about these players that are coming in, these Klarer, Willumsson, and added that height that we need. So I think generally, it isn't just the money, is it? Because you can have as much money in the world, but if you don't spend it wisely. I do see a lot of things on social media as well from other fans who are really saying, it's not going to be easy, Birmingham City, don't think you're going to walk the league. And, if any other fans of any clubs are watching, we don't think that.
No, we really don't.
We really don't. You'll get this on a lot of banter on social media from Blues fans who are just winding you up. We've had 15 years of watching a declining team, and this is the first time in the last 15 years that we actually feel optimistic about a new season. So anything that you see on social media, Blues fans, it really is banter. We know it's going to be tough. We don't expect to walk the league. All we're saying is, with the signings we're making, we're really encouraged about what's happening at our club for the first time in such a long time, and we're hopeful that will get us promotion.
That being said,
simple as that.
110 points incoming. I'm back on it already. But no, you're right. No, I'm really glad you've picked that up, because I'm constantly going on to X, and I got it right this time. I didn't say Twitter, I said X. And we're winding fans up left, right, and centre. And part of me is absolutely wetting myself. And the other part of me is thinking, oh, no, they don't realise that we're joking. And these fans are going, these Birmingham City supporters are doing mine nothing. They're like so arrogant. And
I know,
but like you've hit the nail on the head, Dad. We've had 15 minutes of bad 15 minutes.
15 minutes, I wish it was.
15 years of bad management. We've had 15 years of having owners who don't care about this club. We're just enjoying the ride of having owners that care and just enjoying this moment of splashing the cash and being the big dogs in the league.
We've never been able to do that before.
Exactly.
So that's what we think, Birmingham City supporters. Another great addition to our squad. But we'd love to know what you think. As always, pop us a comment below. Let us know your thoughts about this signing. And maybe if you feel that we need other areas strengthening in the squad, just let us know. And myself and Matt will get around to responding to those as quickly as we possibly can. As always, if you did like the video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. And if you haven't checked us out on our social media channels previously, go along to our X page and our Instagram page, and you'll see those handles appearing on the screen right now. And of course, if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any future content all about Birmingham City. And myself and Matt will see you on the next video.